What up? It's your dude DeeDay, and I'm chopping it up on Give It To Him Raw podcast. Let's get it.
I talk to God about my purpose. Think about my life and how I live, like is it worth it? The old me changed, I'm a new person. It gets.
Why this is Give It To Him Raw podcast, where we say the shit you niggas scared to say, and if you feel played, as always, the beat you fucking won't. I have a super special guest with me today. Tell the people where they can find you on the socials.
Social media, DeeDay Beats, DeeDay504, DeeDayBeats.com, DeeDay504.com.
Yes, and make sure you subscribe. Follow that _raw podcast. Follow the goddess on Instagram, and fuck with the squad. Right.
I produce, engineer, write. I do marketing plans, roll out plans for projects. Like, I'm very in tune with like the business side. So anything music business side, I'm really tapped into it, along with like the musical aspect of everything.
That's awesome. So who introduced you to the sound, like behind the lyrics? How did you get into wanting to do the sound? Or did you get into the sound first or the rapping first?
Nah, I just been producing for like a year and a half.
Oh.
I've been doing music as far as me being an artist like forever, since I was like 11. You know what I'm saying? I got introduced to producing though really by opening the studio and me starting to record different artists. I got a multimedia center reform, so I just built something in the city where I felt we had a lack at, and that's really how the producing came. Artists started coming record by me like, we need beats. So I took it upon myself to get nice with the beats.
Right. So how did you so you're self-taught? Everything's for myself.
Well, I ain't gonna say self-taught. I went to YouTube University.
Okay.
So I watched a lot of tutorials, and shout out to tutorials.
Okay, for real though. So like, I noticed that you use the piano a lot. So is that like your favorite thing to use when it comes to the music, or are you?
Yeah. I think I use the piano a lot in a lot of my beats, just because using the piano like first, there's a lot of instruments that mix with the piano. So it's kind of like a more, I don't know, it leaves it more broad for creativity for me making beats, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely rock with the piano.
Yeah, I do. I like all of the stuff that I've heard that you've done.
Appreciate
just the melody, you know, the piano is really dope to me, because like we was talking about earlier, the drums. Like, we from the city, so we love drums, but like
I love drums too.
Yeah, but I'm big on like horns and the piano. I like the sound. I like how.
You like the musical aspect.
Yeah, I do. I'm really into the music. I really do like music. So what is the role of engineer? Because I feel like I always hear people say I produce and I'm the engineer. So it's like, I feel like the producer was the engineer. I don't know. So like, explain it to me. Like, what's the difference in the roles? What do they do?
Well, like producing could go multiple different ways. It could go you actually making beats, or you could be the person in the room like a DJ Khaled or a hitmaker or somebody like that. They're producers, but they don't make beats. They don't engineer. They don't touch anything. But they help orchestrate records. So they might hear a beat and say, this beat needs a guitar in it, and we need this person for a hook because sonically she'll sound good on it. So that's producing. Also, engineering is more or less like you see the boys. You sitting right here and you actually recording the artist, you mixing, you mastering. You pretty much like, you the foundation of an artist. Right. And I think like engineers, even before I was engineering or producing, like that's the key. Everything starts with a good engineer and a good producer.
Right. I hear that often though. Like, people always talking about need to make sure that they have good engineers and good producers.
Yeah, because without that, you can have a dope song, but if it sound bad because you don't know how to record or you don't know how to mix,
right,
it's over with.
You hit. Do you think technology has advanced a little bit since you started producing from like then and now, or is it like the same?
Not really producing, because like I said, I've been producing a year and a half. So like the stuff that I have in here now is what I started producing with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like yeah, back in the day, like even before my time, I didn't really get to see too much of it, but it was like an analog digital. But an analog is like the big mixing boards, everything is on the screen now. But it's a difference in the sound. Like analog, if you got a board, you could get a more warm sound out of it. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely is a difference.
That definitely makes sense. So I noticed you said that you opened your own studio. What was that process like for anybody who's like, I'm thinking about doing that, opening a studio?
Man, honestly, I got inspired to open a studio. My favorite rapper, well, in my top 3 is Nipsey Hussle. So like years ago, before the whole Nip wave, rest in peace Nip. Like before everybody was really on him, right when he opened the Crenshaw store, I went to Cali. I had I think it was like BT weekend. I went out there for. But I seen Nip's store, so that inspired me to like, man, like I am like how Nip is as far as on my side on the West Bank. Like I am the go-to guy. I felt like we ain't have no multimedia centers, even though they started popping up after I opened mine. It's still a good thing, and I salute everybody doing the same thing I'm doing. Cause all we doing really is creating hubs for artists to grow in. You know what I'm saying? So that always been my plan. Like I always had a studio, but this is my first like one that's open to other people. Everything else just been like for my own personal use.
That's good. I do. It's dope to hear you say that you're inspired by Nipsey. Even to hear you be like before the wave, because that's the main thing I always be talking about. I seen somebody do an interview about Soulja Slim, and it was like, it's crazy how the city wasn't fucking with him until he passed or whatever. And I'm like, it really be like that. Like, why we can't get our roses?
I think that's everywhere. I don't think that's
not just but it's like how he inspired them and stuff. I think that's really dope. Like that was on your, he was on your wave before, because he did a lot of stuff for the community.
Definitely.
And that's kind of like what I feel like I'm doing with this. Like I want to showcase the city and the positives and like what people doing. So for you to say that you opened your studio, like for other artists, like hey, this is what I, sanctuary. Like I think that's really dope.
Definitely.
What were some of the cons?
Like the cons of it probably is like trying to balance everything. At this point, I record half the city, so me trying to balance what I need to do along with all the artists I deal with. So it's like a constant. I ain't never sleeping, but barely sleeping.
Do you feel like people are getting into the producing game and the engineering game just for like the popularity of it all, like a gimmick type shit? What you
not
think?
the producing and engineering. I feel like that about a lot of rappers, because ain't nothing glamorous about being in here all day and all night recording, making beats. Ain't nothing glamorous about that. But somebody like, we need quality down here. So they got a couple engineers down here, a couple producers that's dope, and they delivering quality. But the more the better. Right,
but then it saddens me when the production is so good but the rapper is so trash. Like
that's how it is.
How do you does your integrity be like, you know what? Or you like, I'm just gonna do the beat, like I don't.
Nah, because when most of the time, depending on the artist, what I like to do, if you get a track from me, I like for you to come in here and we work on a record together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? From writing, like melodies.
And are you honest? Are you honest?
Yeah, I'm honest with you.
Okay. Because
most
people don't be being honest, man. They be like, yeah, I ain't fucking with that. Like, or we just gonna do it regular. Like, just because it's kind of a friend, like, oh, I'ma just.
Nah, I don't do friend business.
Okay. Because I'm like, yeah, most people definitely be on that. So, who ultimately influenced you, like, altogether, artists on the artist tip wise? Because you told me a little bit about the production, but as far as artists, like, who influenced you the most?
Artists, I'd probably Kanye West.
Kanye, I love Kanye, even though something is wrong with the boy, but
yeah, the new Kanye tripping.
Yeah, I like
college dropout, graduation Kanye. Like that's the Kanye I love.
Yeah,
because he like, I don't know, Kanye well-rounded. He into fashion. Like Kanye be tapping into all type of stuff, and that's how I am. Like I'm a creator. Like even if it ain't music, I do all type of stuff that's creative. I get bored easy with creativity, so I might do something and be like, I got anything creative. I just like to think.
That's what's up. I'm the same way. I like to be mentally stimulated. I gotta know like what's going on, or like just be. I just need to know. I need to be in the know. I hate not being in the know. Where did the name Rare Form come from?
Man, so as y'all see the alligator, you know what I'm saying, with the X in his eyes and the Henny bottle. So, I represent the gator, and that's pretty much me, just in another form. You know what I'm saying? So that comes from like a playful side. When I get a certain way on their bottle, they say, oh, he in rare form again. So that was just like, I named the studio that.
Yeah, that was dope. You remain creative still, even though, like you said, you're balancing dealing with other people, artistry and stuff like that? Because you're constantly like listening to
Right.
a bunch of music all the time. So like, how do you say, okay, how do you like remain and keep your own creativity on top of like helping somebody else?
Man, really just a lot of the stuff that I pretty much get to see what everybody's on, because I record a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I get to see what type of wave everybody's on. That's the wave I try to not be on.
Right.
So, I'm so like, how I am with music is not a feeling. Like I do it feeling based as far as when I make it, but I'm so over like, if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not gonna do it. I don't hustle like that. Like my hustle is more of like, I've been doing it so long that it's just like a habit. So I don't really have to be in the mood for it. I'm already in the mood for it.
Oh, that's because that was my next question. Like, do you have to like get into a space to create,
Nah.
or do you just feel like it's just automatic? I'm
Yeah.
creating.
Yeah, automatic. I'm creating. Not saying everything will be dope, but I just be trying to spark ideas. That's really it.
So tell the people what's next. Go, go,
Man.
go,
We
go,
got the album
go.
on the way. It should be dropping by the end of the summer. It's called Gator Water. First time I said it, Give It to 'Em Raw Podcast. That's the name of the album, Gator Water.
Alright, you got the
And man,
exclusive.
just a whole lot of content, whole lot of visuals. I got a lot of projects out right now that I produced. That's pretty much it, man. I'm just flooding the market. So this summer the end of the summer gonna get crazy for me. I'm gonna be back getting the waves moving.
Yeah, so you said it was a little bit slow for the quarantine, right? Or it's been kind of minimized?
Yeah, I've been minimizing stuff about, but I'm back on it. I mean, if I'm gonna catch Corona, I'm gonna catch it. Fuck it.
Man, at this point, cause we don't know what the fuck. I mean, niggas ain't listening
Still ain't
anyway.
make it. It got me bitter towards the game. I don't even want rap. Half the time, don't feel the same about it. Now I'm rolling blunts again, popping.